This group of villagers from the back country of Iran were all attacked and bitten by a rabid wolf. They have come to a local facility of the Pasteur Institute in order to receive treatment. This man developed symptoms of rabies. On the third day of the disease, he displays a characteristic restlessness and agitation. The most familiar clinical symptom of rabies is associated with difficulty in swallowing. When fluid comes in contact with the throat, it is violently expelled, at the same time producing painful, spasmodic muscular contractions, hence the term hydrophobia, or fear of water. The accessory muscles of respiration are also affected by the attempt to swallow, so that the patient chokes and gasps for air. In order to avoid swallowing, he drools accumulated saliva into a cup. By the fifth day, salivation is copious and almost continuous. There is excessive perspiration, and the pupils are dilated. As a precaution against the convulsions which commonly occur in rabies, the patient is secured hand and foot. He displays increasing agitation and delirium. If the acute excitement phase of rabies is survived, paralysis sets in, accompanied by apathy and stupor. The patient becomes quieter. He lapses into a coma, which is followed, inevitably, by death.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In that disturbing video you just watched, that was an example of just one of the many judgments that the Lord can bring upon humanity. But let's read this before I get into anything else. This is Hebrews 10:31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And that's, unfortunately, the destination for the majority of our people, that being the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It tells you in Zechariah 13:8 that 2/3 of the Israelites, that being 2 out of every 3 Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are going to fall into some sort of fate, which is going to end in their demise, right? They're going to die off, right? And it's going to happen because a lot of our people, 2/3 of our people that is, have not woken up and were ultimately rejected by the Lord because they rejected the truth of the Bible, right? You see, this existence that we're going through right now that we call life or reality, it's not the end all be all. Okay, this is simply a waiting area for the next iteration of humanity, which is soon to come. Okay, the Lord, when you read the Bible, makes it very clear that we are going through our growing phase right now as a nation. The Lord is prepping us for world rulership, right? And this is simple, and this life that we're living is simply the process which we must go through, the travails that we must experience to get the wisdom and knowledge and the experience needed, so that way when we do rule the world, right? Because the Israelites are going to rule it jointly with the Messiah, right? We have the understanding of what is needed, so that way the world can be ruled in righteousness. All right, this is how the world becomes a universal empire, right? I mean, and when I say the world, I'm talking about us Israelites, right? We are the world without end. Now, that being said, you know, the reason why I showed this video is, one, I just thought it was interesting. I found it online the other day, and I just wanted to, you know, point out that these things that you know, medical science points out, and yes, it knows how it happens. It knows what, you know, goes on in the brain when the disease attacks. Yeah, like this is all documented and known. But ultimately, who created that virus? Who created the symptoms that come of it, and how it would affect the human body, right? And in that case, who ultimately commanded that wolf to go into that Iranian village and bite those men? Well, the Most High did, right? He says all matters of death belong unto him, right? So the Lord, everybody who dies, their death is ultimately approved by the Most High, Yahweh, which is the true Hebrew name of the Most High Father. Okay? Now, that being said, a lot of our people in the coming, you know, short time are going to face similar things like that, man. And one is because of those snake bites that have been going around, right? I just watched a video from the elder out here in Los Angeles. He made a great video, right, talking about the video he played where people were mentioning how people who have taken these snake bites, they've started to change personality-wise, right? They're now different, right? Now we understand that it's because these jabs ultimately attack your pineal gland, where your God genes are created. The VMAT2 genes are produced, right? It attacks your pineal gland, so that way it can no longer create those genes, man, and hence you lose your connection to God, your spirituality. And from what these people were commenting on this video, they get lethargic, they get apathetical about things, they get more angrier, and they are just different people, right? These are the things that are coming upon 2/3 of our people, because again, they decided to side with the devil, right? They decided to trust in man, when the truth, there's so much truth out there about these snake bites, man, that, you know, if you would have done your due diligence, if you would have, you know, researched even below a little bit below the surface, you'd understand that there was something wrong. But again, a lot of these people don't look to the way that they're going to go, which is ultimately the reason why they're going to face the destruction. This is 2 Ezra 8:50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked a great pride. Right now you have a lot of people online who are in this jab cult, right? You know, everything they talk about is the jab this, jab that. And they hoot and holler and praise the fact when somebody who isn't, you know, snake bitten passes away, right? They right now they're sitting high, you know, on their moral, you know, high ground, right? Looking down upon everybody who has, you know, not taken it. They are out there spreading lies and rumors saying that, you know, that people who don't want to take it, that they take horse tranquilizers or horse, you know, or all these type of things, and that, you know, we don't do our research, that we're ignorant, all these type of things, when we have done the research, when it's very obviously the opposite, right? But again, they are in a prideful state, and ultimately, man, the Lord is going to bring many great miseries upon these people, man. And that rabies video you just seen is just an example of what the Lord can do. Imagine that, man. Imagine fading away to death slowly like that. Well, a lot of people aren't going to have to imagine it. They're going to actually go through that, right? Because the Lord, not only is he going to bring on calamities like that upon people where their bodies just start shutting down with some, you know, peculiar, you know, condition. It doesn't have to be rabies. It could be anything. It could be, you know, the result of these snake bites, man. More likely it will be. But again, the Lord has many great things planned for the people of this world who will not turn back and seek righteousness, especially those 2/3 of our own people, right? This is Jeremiah 15:2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith Yahweh Bashem Shai, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh Bashem Shai, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. Right? And that's what's happening, man. Right now, the Lord is setting all these things up, right? If you're watching the news, you understand that there is a famine, you know, in the works. All these cargo ships that they're saying that they won't be able to get through all the backlog until next summer, right? All these things that, you know, are not being delivered, which is going to eventually cause less ordering, which eventually is going to cause less producing, because if these stores aren't going to be ordering because they're still waiting for things to come in, then what's going to happen is that these producers, these companies, are going to produce less. Okay? What you're living through right now is the destruction, or the systematic destruction, of the food supply and product chain that has fed and kept Babylon the Great, America, chugging along, right? The system has been shut down, people. It just takes a while to shut it down. You know, when you turn off a computer, it doesn't just automatically just power off. It takes a few minutes. Well, America, Babylon the Great, as it's known in the Bible, is a huge computer, and it takes months, maybe even a few years for it to shut down. But what you're witnessing right now is the shutting down of America. Now it's all coming down in little pieces, right? It's being deconstructed, right? Deconstructed, right? As in they're removing or debasing the construction of America, man. Right? This is the future that a lot of people are going to be going through, man. So, with that being said, man, I thought you guys would find that video interesting, just to see what are just some of the things that the Lord has at his disposal, man. That things that he could do. Because remember, man, the Lord is mighty in his judgments, and it tells you, man, he destroys in righteousness, man. So the Lord is going to destroy those who have, like it told you in the scripture, walked in great pride, and ultimately he's going to bring upon them many great destructions, right? And we're starting to already see the tides turn, man. We're starting to see how the Lord is shutting the system down, and it's only going to get worse, man. This system will not get fixed, right? Babylon the Great, America, will not rise again. It is going to ultimately be destroyed in that nuclear World War III scenario that has always been put in horror movies on film. Like, that is the future that America is heading towards, man. And unless you want to be part of that lake of fire described in Revelations, you need to return to the Lord and seek Him and do as best as you can to please Him by following the Bible as best as you can in the ways that it is being taught here at Great Millstone. So with all that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Ruach Kodash, double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.